Society may say that cat girl equals W, right? And then if you put it in Zenlesszonezero, strange things could either happen or you can get a cool looking character. Unfortunately, you end up just with a alright looking character. And that ends up being Nekomata. Love the voice actor since she's also Robin from Star Rail. Her gameplay is pretty fun since it is fast paced, but this character is on the path to becoming Zenlessonezero's Yanqing. And just like Yanqing, she could be very good at the start, but the instant that you get access to disk drives, she will fall off so far below, just like Billy in F tier. Now, let's get into this a little bit more. Ideally, I'm able to make a 5-star selector video later on, but for now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how Nekomata is just a terrible character. And it's unfortunate because it was not her fault. If you look at Soldier 11, for example, Soldier 11 also scales off a crit. Nekomata is the same, but instead of being fire, she's physical. Unfortunately, the problem stems from the fact that she's a crit scaler. If you didn't notice, the other two physical units that are in both D and F tier are Billy and Korin. Also Ben, but we'll get to him later because he deserves his own video. Not only are Billy and Korin just 4-star units that have very bad stats, in comparison to someone like Nekomata or Soldier 11, the very unfortunate situation that they land themselves in is from their lack of a dedicated support as well as a terrible disk drive set. Not terrible for characters like Jane Doe and Piper, but very horrid for characters that scale off a crit. Oh, look at that, 3 out of the 5 units are crit scalers that are physical. Before I get anywhere into disk drives, I did want to talk a little bit about the elements in this game. Each has a unique effect when the anomaly is procced, as well as something associated with their disk drive. For example, with fire, 4-piece Inferno Metal allows you to get a free 28% crit rate for free as long as you proc burn on the target that you're hitting. This actually just applies to your unit and it doesn't matter which target you're hitting specifically. With most disk drives having a unique effect associated with the anomaly proc, there can be a very big issue if the characters that are going to be using these disk drives can't actually capitalize off of them. Nekomata, Korin, and Billy are the worst victims of this. This actually just comes from the classification that they're given. Since these units are crit focused and have to get an anomaly proc, building these characters becomes very annoying, as it then becomes an awkward juggle where you're focusing on either building your character to proc anomaly and do more damage when it activates, or to do more damage as you build up to the anomaly proc. This ends up leading you to build a character that has to have perfect subsets on almost all of the disk drive. You just need double crit, attack percent, as well as anomaly proficiency. If you wanted to at least focus on one or the other, you'd have to sacrifice either your crit stats or your anomaly stats. This also ends up leading to a very weird situation where your drive 4 is either going to have to be a crit stat or anomaly proficiency. If you want to do more damage on anomaly proc, you'd probably want to go with anomaly proficiency. And then if you want to do more damage leading up to that, or maybe a little bit after, you'd end up doing a crit rate or crit damage. Now, the actual gameplay of Nekomata herself is very interesting, as it's very fast paced. She has a very cool dash attack that she's able to do, as well as the nothing personnel kid teleports behind you with her charge attack. That is very cool and all, but she's still very weak. Despite having physical infusion on all of her attacks, she still struggles because she doesn't have a specific role. Is she going to be doing damage outside of stun? And if she's doing that, is it going to be focused more so on anomaly proc? When the enemy is stunned, is she going to be focused on anomaly proc, or is she just going to be focused on dealing damage? This awkward middle ground that she finds herself in, alongside Korin and Billy, leads these characters to struggle a lot compared to someone like Soldier 11, who's able to focus on dealing damage at both instances, out of stun or during stun. It doesn't really matter when, as long as she's able to do her fire infused damage, that's all that really matters. Nekomata has to try and decide on which one she wants to focus on, and because she's not focused on something specific like anomaly, such as Jane and Piper, she ends up just struggling to do anything very well, and is surprisingly weak for a 5-star unit, and is most likely the worst decision that you can make if you're to get a 5-star character on the selector. That being said, however, it is not entirely her fault. The main issue is that we don't have a specific physical support unit. Now, most of the supports that we have in the game are pretty general in purpose, Seth being anomaly focused, and a character like Lucy who just provides her team with over 1,000 free attack. We just don't have the unit in the game yet to provide a damage boost to someone like Nekomata, Billy, or even Korin. It is actually crazy to think that the entirety of physical is carried by 1.5 characters. Almost all of it is Jane, with Piper being on the side to possibly provide some value later on. The power of these characters comes from their anomaly classification, as well as their entire kits being focused on building and proccing anomalies, as well as having access to a dedicated support, that being the GOAT Seth. Characters like Nekomata, Billy, and Korin don't actually have anything like this. If anything, they would really benefit from some character who's able to buff crit damage or crit rate, but because there's no option for that at the moment, and until that happens, these characters will continuously struggle, and even the release of a character like Caesar is not going to benefit them. It's just going to push them even further down on the list, simply because a character like Caesar is just a standalone unit. She won't actually be focused on buffing physical in particular, she'll just be there to provide a very good damage bonus for your entire team. That being said, you shouldn't lose all hope, especially if you did build Nekomata as a character. There will inevitably be a dedicated physical support unit. No matter what happens, there are going to be dedicated supports that appear in a Hoyo game. We have characters like Lycon, and we also have characters like Nicole. I would not say Seth because he's way more general purpose than someone like Nicole, but we have access to these characters and we've already seen them appear in other games too. Look at Farazan in Genshin Impact, and look at how well she works with just Anemo characters in general. For now, I wouldn't say to give up hope and reroll your account. I'd say the better thing to do is to focus on building other units and then go back to Nekomata in the future. Because there will be a character that's most likely going to show up that is physical attacker, probably with better scaling, and that also isn't Jane Doe if you don't have her already. One of the big issues at the moment is that Jane Doe is just so powerful that you really should just pull her no matter what. She will trump almost any physical unit that comes out in the future simply because of how easy it is to build her. But this isn't just a Jane Doe Glaze video. This is just to highlight the issues that comes with a character like Nekomata, a character that has a very poor design philosophy, especially at the start, but will most likely get better in the future very slowly. I'd say build her later on, focus on pulling a character like Jane Doe, or focus on building other characters at the moment. Since Nekomata won't have a specific team that she works that well on right now, hopefully in the near future at least, we'll end up with our dedicated physical support unit that can buff damage dealers in particular and not just anomaly users. Well, I just roasted the hell out of Nekomata for like 6 minutes. Unfortunately, that's all I have for now. It's a bit of a different video. I just wanted to get something short out there, but I'm also back at my apartment, so my mic will sound a little bit different. This will be what you hear for the next few months. I'm sorry I couldn't make my Jane Doe video. I just ran out of steam and I think I accidentally deleted the video files. But in the near future, do expect a video on the Standard Banner Selector, as well as a little bit more of a glaze session on Soldier 11 and Jane Doe in particular. I have a full clear of the Shiyu defense that'll probably be playing a little bit in the background of this video, if I recall. But for now, that's all. Thank you for watching to this point. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, build your Soldier 11 today. But besides that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.